Okay, the other category that I see people completely just changing their whole business is around builder and new construction. There's obviously opportunities with one-time close and custom construction loans. That's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about going out and building relationships with new construction plats, right? Builders, big builders that do hundreds of homes a year, even medium-sized regional builders. I think there is a real strategy here. And look, I'm sure all of you know somebody who has new construction as a primary pillar of their business. And it is different. I'm not going to lie to you and say it's different. It does require a bit of a mindset shift, okay? But so does, Anthony's strategy, like around DSCR and about going after, investors. This is a mindset shift. And to me, that was the theme of this conversation, is being open-minded to maybe different ideas and strategies you haven't tried in the past. What we learned about builder business is a couple things. One, you do have to realize that many of the big builders out there have their own financing in place, whether that means that they've established a joint venture, maybe they own their own mortgage company. But you guys, there's still massive opportunities with those builders because they typically need a backup option, right? They don't do all of the loan products usually. And so if you're at a, independent mortgage company or even as a broker, you probably have more access to product than many of these builder lenders do. And so the first step is be okay with being a backup to, their primary source, and be respectful of that primary source, right? You have to acknowledge, look, I'm not here to own the business. I'm here to be a great backup lender because builders want their homes sold and they would love to use their mortgage company. The economics are better for them. But the reality is, if that lender can't do it, they need somebody who can step in and handle that financing, and someone who's not going to do it in a way that's disrespectful to their primary source of financing. And that's okay. Being a backup when there's hundreds of transactions a year can be a great place to start that relationship. So don't be afraid of that, and be prepared to, make your presentation around the desire to take on their more difficult loans, the loans that get turned down by their primary lender. Like, you got to be okay with that. The other big thing that we heard is about follow-up. So many loan officers start a new strategy, and this takes time. You're not going to win a builder over in 1 or 2 visits to the site. It's going to take consistency and then follow-up. And so where most people miss out on these is they just don't follow up enough. And then the other thing I would say is you got to be available, right? When they do call, you got to be willing to call back. You probably need to invest some of your weekends if you do land one of these opportunities to, maybe not sit at their development if you're their backup lender, but maybe you got to go to some sit the plat here and there, but definitely be available on the weekend, because turns out that's when people are out looking at homes, right? And so that's where the mindset shift comes. That's where being willing to do things that other lenders aren't. But you guys, it's a built-in consistent source of business. And we've seen people completely relocate across the country into new markets where they have no relationships, put a primary focus on developing builder relationships, and completely built a sustainable business within the first 12 months that they work there. So, or that they live there in that market. So, and then the last thing I would say is I think non-QM plays really well in this space also, because many of these lenders, the builder lenders, they're not going to have the access to the products. So it's one thing to do, a difficult FHA loan or creative conventional financing, but DSCR, right? I mean, there's investors wanting to buy these new homes. So, bank statement loans for self-employed people, bringing solutions that help them move inventory, I think is a tremendous opportunity with builders. So, look for that. If you're not working with any builders, you got to be committed to it, but it can be a great source of business. And I think there's a lot of people who've been doing it for a long time. I think there's opportunity in that space if you're really going to lean into it.